While others talk theory from their studios, I take you into the field to show you real deals, real investors, and real results. This is not classroom real estate. This is the unfiltered, boots on the ground playbook of the pros. Hi guys, my name is Brian Tripp. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, but I travel all across the country to bring you in-person interviews and property walkthroughs of professional real estate entrepreneurs. I'm so glad you're along for the ride, so let's get into today's show. What's going on, everybody? We are in Newton, North Carolina. We're in Catawba County with Melissa Hall, and we are going to talk some real estate today. We got a really interesting story to share with you today, but before we get into this kind of crazy story about real estate, about going to jail for just doing a subject to, just doing real estate investing. Before we get into that, I want to learn a little bit more about you, Melissa. Tell us who you are. How'd you get started in real estate?
So, single mom of 5. Started real estate about 10 years ago. I had $20 to my name. It was always a calling of mine, and one day I felt like I could make it happen, and so I tried, and I've been trying for 10 years.
Wow.
One foot in front of the other.
What made you, was it a situation where you were just trying to find a side hustle and trying to find some money, or what? Tell me the story. How did you get into it?
No, I've known since I was probably 8 years old that real estate would be what made me successful. I knew that if I could just get my foot into the door that I would be exactly that. Yeah. You know, pretty soon YouTube came out, and I was going through an extremely difficult time in my life and started teaching myself on YouTube for like 15 hours a day. And then one day I said, I've watched YouTube too much and I need to get out into the world. And so I went to a meetup in Charlotte. I had $22 that day. And I went and got my kids a number 7 at McDonald's, and they split it. And I put $17 in my gas tank, went to Charlotte, learned some stuff, brought it back to a small town. And that has definitely led us here, both successfully and by problems. Wow.
How long did it take before you were able to really kind of capitalize on your real estate knowledge? Like, take me back to maybe your first deal or maybe your first significant deal.
Immediately. I was successful on my first deal. It's just always been something in me that I understood numbers and I understood real estate. And I've never been one to like really follow the rules or even look at comps. I've always been the one to like push the needle and say, this is what this property is going to be worth today. Okay. And so that's what I did on my first deal. I took a lot of no's before I got my yes. My first deal was 7 houses on one street in Lenoir, and they were in the hood. 7 houses on one street. Yep. First deal. I got the deal through the man that I met at the meetup. Okay. Yeah. You had $0 to your name. I was 0. How did you structure that deal? It was a wholesale. Okay. So I called and negotiated with the seller. We negotiated $50,000. We had a problem that we had to solve. He had owner financed one of the properties out. We had to track that person down to get them to sign back over the house. He had signed over the deed to them. So we got the 7 houses for $50,000. Wow. And then I marketed, and this was before like we were really using social media, right? Facebook, etc. I had marketed them everywhere. We had Craigslist was like our major for sure marketing form, right? So we had Craigslist going, and I actually had posted them in a small town newspaper. Well, it's the I Wanna. And a lady called me, and she came down, and she bought them for $90,000. Wow. I had the guy from the meetup was my mentor and my partner at the time. And then we had the guy that had done the marketing, like sending letters to bring in the deal. So we were all 3 splitting it. And the mentor guy wanted to just give up and we all make a couple thousand. When I'm like, look, a couple thousand is not going to do me any good. Like, I need some life-changing money right here. And so I kept saying no, kept saying no, kept saying no, until finally I got the yes that I wanted. And then we each made like $8,500 on the deal. Tell me what that $8,500 did for you. So I was living in a house that I put some money into, rented it out, and moved my family to the beach, to Wilmington, to start my life over. Like I had said, that's a long way away from here. Yeah, man. Like I had said, before I started real estate, I had went through like a horrific time, a witness to a murder in my home. And so when I got that money, I knew that I needed to move me and my kids away so we'd have a fresh start. So we moved to Wilmington, where I didn't know real estate. I didn't know anybody, but we had the beach and the water. And like I recreated our lives and did real estate. When I got there, like I had paid my rent up for 2 months. So I basically had 90 days to get another deal done. And that's pretty much been the level of stress, I guess you can call it, or motivation that I've used to get to where I'm at now. Is like put myself in a position where I continuously have to make something happen has been successful for me. It's also been very stressful and mentally draining to run my life like that. But that is just the kind of fire that I have in me, so it's worked.
There's a lot of different people out there that get motivated by a lot of different things, and certainly that back up against the wall kind of mentality is a huge motivating factor for a lot of folks.
I find that when we're in the situation where we have to live or die, we're always going to find out a way to live. And I mean, if you keep putting yourself under pressure, if you're always most often going to find a way to live through it. Don't get comfortable.
So you went, how far away is Wilmington's?
4 hours.
4 hours away. How'd you get back over here?
We were there for a couple years. I felt good about myself again. And it was time to come back home to my family. My grandmother, my mom.
So Melissa, to take us, kind of fast forward us now to where you are today. Tell me, what have you built? And obviously you came out here and you told me about this house that you were able to get creatively. So, but tell me what you've built in real estate.
So I currently own a little over 40 houses.
Okay.
I'm the kind of person that, should I focus on one thing or should I diversify? And really, I think that's something that we all struggle with. But I built my portfolio off of fast, medium, and slow money, right? I've done it all. So short-term rentals, room rentals, fix and flips, refinances, long-term rentals. I have them all currently, and I'm still running them all. Not to perfection. I'm not doing this business to perfection. I lose a lot of money because I don't focus more on my investments, right? But I also make a lot of money because I'm good at jumping off cliffs, so.
What does that mean?
I mean, if I want to try to, for example, I wanted to try to do an Airbnb in Morganton and everybody thought I was crazy. Like, how are you going to be successful with an Airbnb in Morganton? It's my highest producing asset today.
So you're not afraid to take a risk?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
How is that? How do you feel like that served you in real estate?
Well, I've been able to take care of 5 children and my mother. My mother has her own house 7 minutes from here. She doesn't have to work. I'm able to provide for her and 5 kids without child support, without government assistance, without help from anybody. So, yes, I've had sleepless nights over this business. I have made tremendous mistakes, embarrassing mistakes, costly mistakes. Look where we're at now with this felony charge.
Okay, which we're going to get to in a minute.
Yeah, I've made countless mistakes in this business, but I am successful in the fact that I'm able to provide for my children no matter where we're at in the world. We can leave from here today if we have to drop everything and go to Puerto Rico for some reason, or wherever, Jamaica, we've done it, Key West, anywhere. I'm able to work from anywhere and provide for my children. So that is a wonderful feeling.
Anything you would have done differently in the last 10 years?
Yes.
Aside from the deal, we're going to talk about a very specific
deal. That's
deal.
A great question.
Aside from that deal.
I would have built my team before I needed them.
Who would be on your team?
Attorneys.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I would have built my team before I needed them. A good friend and I were just talking about this the other day. Now, when I first started this business, I was so stressed out on how do you find the leads, right? Now that's the easy part to me.
Yes.
That is the easy part to me.
Yeah.
But it
finding a good contractor, finding a good title attorney, or finding a good just real estate attorney. Like if you're talking about doing a subject to and a lease option and all these creative things, do you have an attorney that can go to battle for you?
I couldn't use in my mind, I couldn't use an attorney at that time because they took too long, right? But looking back, knowing what I have now, I could have taught attorneys how to act with me, how to treat me. You know, like you teach everybody how to deal with you. You do the same thing with attorneys. You teach them, you tell them, you coax them along what you want them to do. They work for you. You're not at their beck and call. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That change in mindset is critical. When you realize that you hired the attorney and they're to do what you want them to do when you want it done. And if they can't do it, then you have to go get another attorney, right? I found out that really helping people in foreclosure made me sleep good at night. It made me feel good about myself. And I had to rush, right? So I started doing a lot of things myself, which is not illegal. But you don't have that umbrella of protection that said, no, this went through an attorney. You know, people want to see this. The real estate closings were done with an attorney. Do you need an attorney? No, you don't. Do you need that extra umbrella of protection if problems occur? Yes. Yes, you do.
That's good. That's interesting advice. I've done a lot of deals without the use of an attorney. I always do go through title. I think we were talking about this earlier. I always go through title. I don't necessarily get title insurance, but I always go make sure that get a title abstract. We get something done to where I feel good about the property. And then I'll just go. I've done numerous seller finance deals. I've done numerous subject to deals where I had a notary. And that's it. I didn't have an attorney. But I've never faced a situation like you're facing today, guys. So Melissa spent time in jail, and she is accused of basically being a real estate agent where she's not, like impersonating a real estate agent. She's accused of fraud, like that she doesn't own a property, but she does own the property because she bought it subject to. So guys, we're going to get into super details with this deal that Melissa did, and hopefully this is a cautionary tale for some of the folks that also want to kind of really understand all the intricacies of what went on. So guys, stay tuned for part 2. Let me ask you something. Who's in your corner? One of the biggest breakthroughs in my real estate journey came when I stopped trying to figure it all out on my own, and I started surrounding myself with high-level investors who are actually doing deals and building real businesses. That's why I created Board of Advisors, a curated mastermind for real estate entrepreneurs who are serious about growth. We're talking real conversations about cash flow, hiring, deal flow, burnout, and strategy, the stuff that actually moves the needle. We're meeting October 6th and 7th in Birmingham, Alabama, and if you've been feeling stuck or isolated, or like your business could grow faster with the right people around you, then I want you to go to boamastermind.com and enter that promo code podcast. That way you get a deep discount, and that way you can join us. When I say deep discount, I really mean it. I'm literally only covering my costs to host the event. So go ahead and go to boamastermind.com, enter that promo code podcast, and join us here in Birmingham. And I just want to be clear here, this isn't one of those flashy masterminds full of influencers trying to build their followings. This room is built for operators, real estate investors who want to scale their business, not their social media presence. Go to boamastermind.com, enter the promo code podcast, and meet me in Birmingham on October 6th and 7th. Imagine doing a subject to transaction, buying a house subject to the existing financing, and then leasing that property out to someone else to rent to own, like a lease to own, like a lease option. And they pay for a little while, you get the option consideration money, and then all of a sudden they stop paying, and you go to do an eviction, okay? All that's kind of like normal. I've done that. I think a lot of people have done that, or you've at least heard about it if you haven't done it. And that's where this story with Melissa kind of takes a little bit of a twist. Guys, we are in North Carolina. What town are we in?
Catawba County.
We're in Catawba County,
North Carolina.
Hickory, North Carolina. This is just outside of Charlotte, maybe by 30 minutes or so.
Right.
30 minutes west of Charlotte. And Melissa has found herself in a situation where she couldn't get the tenant out. She's gone to court. They're not getting the tenant out. And it's actually like a little bit of a twist. Now, you were put in jail recently as well. So I'd love for you to kind of take us from the very beginning. How did you even get this property? How did take us from the very beginning?
So we focus on foreclosures and helping people save their credit and saving their houses from going to foreclosure. So we tracked down the couple that owned this house. They were thankful that their credit was going to be saved and they weren't going to experience the foreclosure and the ongoing stresses of that. We solved it for them. This buyer then contacted us, the lease option tenant, who I'm in a struggle with now, and we were able to provide her the chance of owning a home despite the fact that she wasn't able to get approved through a bank, right? She had a good enough down payment. It wasn't what we were asking for, but we worked with her and her family. She's a local business owner herself. She owns a nail salon downtown Hickory. I really believed in her. I really thought that we could help her, and that this would be a good transaction for everybody involved, the sellers, myself, my team, my family, and her family. A year went by and everything went great. She paid on time. She doesn't hear from us. We don't hear from her. Then her lease option came up due, and we get an email. My staff gets an email stating that her husband had to be moved or had to go back to Mexico, and that she was not able to pay off the loan. So I gave her two options, whether moving into an owner finance or extending her lease option. You know, I wasn't here to try to take her money from her. It didn't hurt me to offer her another year for her to find bank financing. It was fine. It did keep me from, receiving probably $30,000, $40,000 in equity, but I put my gains on the back end so that she wouldn't lose her home. And that was the last payment that we got from her.
How long ago was that?
About 3 years ago.
This has been going on for 4 years.
Yep. So she lived there perfectly fine for a year, and then this has been going on for about 3 years.
Meanwhile, Melissa, you've been paying the mortgage because it was a subject to.
That's right.
And how much is the mortgage about?
About $1,400 a month.
And you received rent for the first year.
Yes.
But for 3 years now, you've been paying the mortgage.
That's right.
And so that's not only cost you, but now you're sitting here talking about, let's talk about the attorneys for a second, because the first attorney you hired, out of many, you were trying to do an eviction.
That's right.
It got delayed for whatever reason. We can speculate, but it got delayed by many months. And you finally went to court, and you were told that it was not, you were in the wrong court. Kind of take me through that a little bit.
Yeah. After several attempts and several different attorneys who would continue to take my money and leave files sitting on their desk and not do what they were hired to do, found another attorney. This would be the third or fourth eviction attorney that I've hired for this. And she actually is trying. I will not say that she's being timely about her efforts, but she is at least trying. We were able to hire her for 3 evictions. She was able to get one person out easily. Same process setup as this, different county. No problem, was able to get her evicted. This one, we get to court. They tell us that this case cannot be heard in small claims court, that it has to go to district court because it's a lease option.
And so when was this? Like how soon after? So a year had gone by. How far after the year that had gone by when they stopped paying? Because I know there's a time period where you're trying to work with her.
Yeah.
So when did you go to court for that small claims court?
That wasn't until 3 months ago. So over 2 years have went by without her paying, that I have been hiring attorneys to get us to court.
What took us so long? That's a long time.
Yeah, because attorneys will take your money and they will leave you high and dry.
So 2 years went by.
Yeah.
Where you're just saying that went through many attorneys, nothing was getting done. Oh, that's a long time.
That is a long time. Yep.
Is there... What's the lesson in all that? Like, what have you? Is there something you could have done differently, possibly?
Absolutely, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. First of all, before you give an attorney your money, you want them to explain to you why you should hire them. right? Don't just trust what they say. They're going to sell you on a dream and tell you that they're going to get to work for you, and then they're going to take your money and they're going to leave your file sitting on their desk. Also, you don't need favors from attorneys because they're not going to act fast on favors. So some of that time I felt like was sitting with 2 attorneys that felt like they were doing me a favor, which actually they were hurting me every single hour of the day that they let this sit on their desk.
Go ahead and pay them what they're worth, if they're worth it, and let's just get it going. Get
the fee, get a timeline of what they're going to do and how long that they suspect that this could go on for. They should be able to give you a timeline and strategies of what they're going to do, paperwork that they're going to file. And once you see that and you agree on that, and then you also let them know that your standards are 72 hours for a reply.
Wow.
Those are my standards now.
Wow.
And I don't like 72 hours. I like no less than 48 hours, if immediate. Okay. Yeah. But I'm a patient person despite what people say about me. So let them know up front that your standard is 72 hours max reply time. Have them sign an agreement just like they're going to have you sign an agreement with them. Okay, write your own agreement and say, these are my guidelines. If you want to work with me, if you want me to hire you, pay you the money that you want, I've signed yours, here's mine. Now let's get to work on this.
Okay, so we went through kind of like this long period of time where we're trying to figure out attorneys, and attorneys were just dropping the ball, right?
Constantly.
And then so it finally goes to small claims court. You're told by a judge that that's not the court you need to be in. So now we need to go into like a district court.
Yep. So the judge knew about this case before it got to her because nobody even told her that it was a lease option in court. She just asked, is this a lease option? Oh, we can't do those in this court. So then now we're waiting for a district court hearing, and they've still yet to give us a trial date.
Okay. Meanwhile, it's been 4 years.
Yep.
And this house right here, the tenant buyer is still in this house.
And 4 months since we went to small claims court, and still no court date.
Still no court date. And then, Melissa, now, recently, this story, if it's not ridiculous enough, now it's taken like another it's taken a twist to where it's almost like a real estate investor's worst nightmare at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what happened next.
You know, I'm just getting out of a long depression over all of this, to be honest with you. It's been very hard on me financially, emotionally, you know, just to even keep my business going with stressing about this. I was charged with a felony for fraudulently obtaining property. I was arrested for that felony. A second charge in there was impersonating a real estate agent. So all of these false and malicious claims are being filed against me. I'm being, maliciously prosecuted and arrested. And still yet, my criminal attorney has yet to get 100% of the evidence of all of this over to the DA. And that's currently going on. He is my third criminal attorney, and his last payment was $12,000. And he told me when we went to court that the DA still doesn't have all of the evidence, and he has no answers to me as to why. Yet again, these attorneys can kill you if you let them.
Yeah. But this is different than, obviously way different than, I think a lot of folks, if you're in real estate, especially in real estate for any kind of period of time, there are going to be lawsuits. You could get sued over this or that. This is criminal now.
Yeah.
These are criminal charges that have been brought to you by the county. So you were accused of not owning this house.
That's right.
Right. But you did own the house via a subject to.
That's correct.
So is there any lesson there? Is there anything that you would maybe share with who are doing a subject to transaction that maybe you might have done differently?
No, this was done perfectly by everybody on my team. We have a great rapport with the seller, to the fact that they both even wrote after their divorce. They've now since divorced, but they both wrote an affidavit explaining that they're happy that I came about, that I saved their credit, that I'm working this hard on not letting the county allow these people to steal their homes and force them into foreclosure. There is no reason why I'm still paying these mortgage payments, except for the fact that I don't want these people to get a foreclosure on their credit because of a decision that I made to move someone in here that was going to hurt us.
Right.
Really, that's why I'm still making the payment today.
So where do we stand today? I know everything hasn't been resolved. We're still waiting on a court date to get into district court to try to remove the tenant. We've been doing that for quite some time. And then now there's these criminal charges. Where do we stand with that?
Yep. So in our last court hearing, Wednesday before last, my attorney spoke to the DA finally. I would have thought that it would have been his about third time speaking to the attorney, which is what he had told me. Turns out it was his first time speaking to the district attorney. He showed him one piece of evidence, and then the district attorney asked for a continuance in the case from the judge, stating that this was the first time that he had met with my attorney and that new evidence had been brought to light. This is not new evidence. This evidence is over 4 years old. That's very interesting, and that is what's continuously happening here. Attorneys are lying, they're taking money, and they're making things really, really bad. The district attorney, you know, as angry as I am with him, he's being defrauded as well, right? This evidence is being kept from him. Why doesn't he have all the evidence? I still don't understand that. But the DA did say that it looks like I did own the property and I did have the right to transfer ownership. So now they're going heavy on the impersonating a real estate agent charge.
Now, so take me through that real quick. So what are they claiming that you did?
That's all I got for you. That's what they wrote on the charge.
Because in the state of North Carolina right now, there are no wholesaling laws.
No.
There's no laws against you can't assign contracts. So you're thinking, though, that it has to do with something like that?
You know, I think it's just ignorance all the way around. You know, people think that you have to be a real estate agent in this area to be able to make real estate happen. And they don't know that people like us exist, real estate problem solvers, right? That educate ourselves, and we spend money to educate ourselves. How much, how often? A lot, right? So they don't know the things that we know. It's just pure ignorance.
Melissa, how much does this cost you?
I would say upwards.
And I'm not talking about your mental health and that, because that alone.
Man, millions that way.
Mentally trying to go through something like this, I can't imagine.
With 5 kids and already being shaky on the mental side from previous things that I've been through, you know, it was like continuously stabbing somebody that's already been stabbed to death before, you know. But
financially, how much is this?
We're looking at $120,000.
That includes attorney's fees, obviously the back rent that you've been paying the mortgage this whole time without collecting anything. And I know you hired a private investigator.
I just hired a private investigator.
So take us through that. Why did you do that, and what are they investigating?
Oh man, they're investigating everything that's going on. I found myself in a position where I'm either going to lay down and let everybody kick me, or I'm going to have to stand up and fight. And hiring attorneys was not my way of fighting right now. It's going to have to be an attorney that's not local. Right. I want answers. I want answers from this courthouse. I want answers from this police department. And I want answers from every attorney that's taken my money. So I hired a very expensive private investigator who has 30 years of experience in law enforcement himself, and has been tracking people down for 40 years. So, yeah, he's working on a lot.
Well, guys, we're going to follow up with Melissa here in the coming months just to try to see if there's any resolution to what's going on. But I definitely wanted to share her story with you guys because I do subject to transactions. I know a lot of y'all do, or at least you've heard of it, and it's something you might want to do in the future. So maybe it's just one more thing. Melissa, you had mentioned one of the things that you would have done differently, if anything, is to make sure you had built your team before you start doing some of these. And I couldn't agree more, is to make sure you actually have attorneys who understand lease options and could litigate if they had to, understand subject to, and could litigate if they had to. Having those people, having those conversations with those attorneys before something like this would happen. But really, it doesn't sound like there's much else you could have done differently.
No, man, no. I could have not been so nice and extended the lease option and went to war immediately. That's not the kind of person that I want to be in this business.
And that's you know, costly. Obviously, it ended up being costly anyway. But you want to try to work with someone as much as possible.
You do. You do, and until they're cutting your throat while they're doing it.
For sure.
Now, I'll say this in the ending, and what I mean by get your team together before you need them. I'm not new to this. If I had to guess, this subject 2 was done 4 years ago. This was probably the 50th or 60th subject 2 I had done by that point. I'm now done 100 more. I wasn't new to this, okay? But I had not put the effort into finding the attorneys that can act quickly. And then you also just hit the nail on the head. Not just a real estate attorney who can process your deals, but they have to be able to litigate. And add that in there. Add that in there, because you're going to reach out to these attorneys, and you're going to say, hey, this, and this. Oh, I don't litigate. You need a litigation attorney for that. And that's very real, and that's where we are.
Guys, I appreciate y'all watching this. Melissa, thank you so much for sharing your story. Really do appreciate that. And we obviously are hoping that everything ends well for you, and we'll definitely update y'all as a resolution comes to light.
We'll win.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right, see y'all in the next one. Thanks so much for listening to today's show. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you got any value today, please take 30 seconds and leave us a quick review. To get connected with me or to become a part of the Board Advisors community, go to boamastermind.com. That's boamastermind.com. We'll see you guys on the next one.